Good afternoon, twice in one day. So this afternoon I'm going to do one of my own recipes that I created and I've written and put into Cookie Doo. I will share this recipe with you. It will be in the comments and I'd love it if you'd give it a go. When you do give it a go, please let me know what you think about it. It's a fantastic recipe if you're going to a party and you want a big dip. Okay, you can halve it, but we're going to visit some friends tomorrow. And it's another one of those recipes, when you make it a little bit ahead, the flavors become even more flavorsome, I guess. So I'm going to flip you around and we will come in and take a look. It's called, we're having the prawn and chicken laksa for dinner tonight. Personally, I might have mentioned this before. I find prawn and chicken a little bit of an odd combination, so I like to do either all chicken or all prawn. So I'm doing prawn today. What I'm doing this afternoon is my creamy spinach dip. So this is one of the very first recipes I created for the TM6, particularly the TM6 because of the high heat, but now we have the TM7, it's even better, and you'll see why in a moment. So I'm going to come back to here. Actually, I'm coming back to here. I'm going to set as my current step. Now, the recipe asked for parmesan, and when she got there, the cupboard was bare. I had no parmesan, so I'm just going to use some cheddar. So it doesn't really matter what cheese. It's nice to have a nice sharp cheese. So I've got about 100 grams, and I've got a little bit of not parsley. That I do have parsley, but I've also got a little bit of basil because I've been growing that on the kitchen bench over there. So that all goes in. I'm going to throw that all in. So it's coming over a little bit more because I've got the parsley and the parmesan. I'm going to go next and pop my lid on, and I'm going to, I just realized it's not updated. It says to choose the saute function, but what I need to do, I did update this recipe, but I'll double check when I come back to it. I'm going to get out of it and I'll come back to my week and see if it's updated now, because your Thermomix, your TM7 particularly, is like a computer. So sometimes it needs to see recipe updated. Terrific. Okay, let's go start. Next. So we've already done that. Now this, I've ticked that off, and it tells me to go. 5 seconds. And this is a little segue into your blade. Now, if you think of your blade like a tire on a car, and that is my cheese obliterated. So I need to scrape that out, because the next step I'm going to do is saute my onion, garlic, and bacon. So usually Parmesan is a wee bit crumblier than this, but that's okay. Another little tip, when you've got stuff stuck on your blade, all you need to do is put your lid on. It says repeat, repeat, and stop. Now, one of the biggest things with the TM7 is it's just so much quieter. And see, that flicks everything off the blade now. So I'll scrape the rest of that out, and then we can get on with the rest of the recipe. Now, this cheese may stick a little bit because we're going to come to the high heat, but that's all fine because it's super easy to clean. Okay, so we're going to skip that. Now we're coming into our bacon. So I've got 150 grams of bacon-ish. Oh, even a little bit more, that's fine. I've got 1 eschalot, and I've got a couple of cloves of garlic. I've got just the milder part of the chili, so there's no seeds or membrane in that. This half has the seed and membrane. This is your hot half. That's your milder half. So you don't have to tick off. You can just come to next. Now it says to choose the saute function. So I haven't written that into the recipe. So I'm coming back out here and I'm going to use the browning function. It presets for 10 minutes. I'm just going to bring it down for 4 and go. So that's going to saute. Now I can lift and lower, lift and lower. And what I actually probably should do, because there is a bit of bacon in there, but it was the skinny bacon. So I'm just going to put a little squirt of olive oil. So just so that it doesn't sting, so that it doesn't stick. Okay, so we're going to let that go. So whilst that is going, we can come back to our recipe in my week. So you can come backwards and forwards while it's still cooking, and we can see what our next step will be. So the next step after that, we're going to chop that down, and then we're going to add the remaining ingredients, which is a block of Philly cheese. Now, this was half price last week, so that's fantastic. So half of that, and I'm also going to put in some baby spinach. So you could use fresh baby spinach, but I've got defrosted spinach and I just squeezed most of the water out. So this recipe is fantastic to put in a cob loaf. If you're going to a party, you can put this in a cob loaf and they'll think you're dead fancy. Now, whilst that is still sauteing, the great thing with the TM7, you can lift and lower, lift and lower. And I don't know if you could actually hear that. I'm going to give that, can you hear that? That's sizzling. So we're going to put that down. I'm going to let that go for another couple of minutes. Whilst it's doing that, I have a little segue, and that's just to show you that with your TM7, you can, actually I will flip you back that way because you can see it the right way. It's come up and it's showing me that I've got 1 minute and 53 seconds. So it's on the countdown. Okay, so if I touch on to that, that will come straight into Cookie Do. Now you all know my password to get in. That's okay. It's no big secret to get into Cookie Do. So this is my recipe. The total time they say is 15 minutes, but it really doesn't take that long at all. So that's a picture that I have taken myself. I can change that image, but that's going to be our beautiful dip. And it's particularly for the 6 and the 7. With the 6, you do need to come out and go into the saute function, but with the, you can see that recipe's up there and here. So I can come back here or I can go there. So you can flip and flop between recipes, which is fantastic. So I'm just going to give that a little bit more. Can you hear that now? Oh, I love the smell of bacon. Who doesn't love the smell of bacon? I'd probably be a vegetarian if it wasn't for bacon. So now I'm not sure if you saw my live a little bit earlier. I was very excited. I got my incentive that I earned a couple of months ago, which is a branded carry-on bag for traveling, and also the really cool pair of Adidas sneakers. So being a consultant is really rewarding. I wouldn't be here after 17 years if I still didn't love it. So this month, if you host a demo, you can get a second bowl discounted. If you don't yet have a TM7, have a demo and you can potentially also get a second bowl. So talk to me about that. If you'd like to have info on becoming a consultant, we have a fantastic program where you sell 4 Thermomixes and you've earned yourself a TM7. So anyway, let me know if you'd like that info. I'm going to flip you back. I'm just trying to fill in time while this cooked. I don't normally do the salesy thing. So that's just done all that sauteing. And then I will come back to my recipe here, and I will come next. I'm going to actually, I might just chop that first. I'll have to rewrite that into the recipe. So when I come back to here, I can come to open mode. I'm just going to chop that for, I'm going to do that on speed 5, and I'll just do that for 4 or 5 seconds. 5 for 5. And I'll just show you how quick. Oh, you know what? It still never ceases to amaze me. There's a piece of bacon stuck up there, but that won't matter because we're going to throw in the rest of our ingredients. So give that a little scrape. So we're going to put in our Philly cheese and our spinach and our grated Parmesan / cheddar. And then all we need to do is blend this. So if you've already pre-made your cob loaf, this will be a beautiful warm dip to go into your cob loaf. Tomorrow we can just have this just as a dip. It also makes a terrific stuffing to go inside a chicken breast. And then I'm just going to put the rest of my cheese and parsley into there. And all I need to do, I'm going to mix that again for another 5 seconds. You can see that that has actually dropped the temperature by putting those cold ingredients in there. And that, my friends, is Den's creamy herb, garlic and spinach dip. And I'll just put that in. So that's still warm, not hot, but warm. And it makes a lot of dip. So remember, with your TM7 as well, you can pick it up at the front and glide it back and hold your handle at the base here and tip. Now, when I'm doing my lives, I can't see who's watching, so I would love it if, if you would please make a comment. So that's one reason I like to say hashtag replay if you're watching this later. So we need to get the rest of that off the blade. Just 1 second. And that will get the rest of the dip off the blade again. So this is one of those, I think it's a 500 gram Tupperware container. So you can tell it makes a lot of dip. So remember, hashtag replay if you're watching this later. I'd also love to know, what else would you do with that dip? Put it into a cob loaf, have it with crackers, stuff it inside chicken breast. Yeah, if you've got any other cool ideas, I guess you could even put it through pasta. Anyway, let's have a taste. Oh, yum. What better mix than bacon and cheese? Yum. Okay, and I will see you all on the flip side. Hashtag replay, and I'd love to know if you have any questions, and I will pop this recipe into the comments. Okay, take care and have a fantastic weekend. Bye. Must be time for a gin now, do you think? Bye.